Welcome back to Dan's Messy Garage. And we're going to talk about how to flush out a torque converter. Quick story here. This brand new converter. I put it on a car with a freshly built by me AOD transmission. It's a Ford automatic overdrive transmission. And you have to get the converter into the transmission correctly. I did that. I have videos to show I did that. Got the trans in the car, put 4 quarts of fluid in the transmission, plus I had a quart of fluid in the converter, started the car, and then dumped in 4 more quarts of ATF as the engine was running. That is how you get the transmission working. So I did all that. Of course, I'm revving the engine up. It's open headers, and it's the way I also do things. But I put the car on jack stands, put it in gear, and I was going to let the trans go through all the gears and circulate the fluid. Well, the tires didn't move. Trans didn't work. There was no drive. There's no reverse. Nothing. So I got on the internet, and they said the first thing to check is see if there's coolant flow through your transmission cooler. So I unhooked the line, started the car, no flow. So the internet says that I wrecked the front pump of the transmission by not having the converter in correctly and started the car. Well, I know I had the converter in correctly, but so pain in the ass, got the trans out of the car, took it apart, and sure enough, the front pump is destroyed. After I got the trans out of the car and saw the problem with the gears being ground up, I had to figure out why, what happened. I know the trans and converter was together correctly before I bolted it to the engine. Long story short, I used the wrong flex plate. I had, at the time, at least 4 flex plates laying around. And the one that I happened to pick turned out to be, this is after the fact, by the way, for a C6 transmission. The difference is flex plate has a different offset than AOD or I think a C4. And what it does is pushes the torque converter 0.2 of an inch deeper into the trans. Pushing the converter deeper into the trans shoves the gear that I'm going to show you into the stator and grinds it away. Big mistake. I just grabbed the wrong flex plate because I had them laying around. That was a problem. I used the wrong flex plate and screwed myself and had to rebuild the transmission. That leads me to why I need to flush the converter. Okay, this is just the destroyed part. This gear got pushed too hard into this is called the stator, and it grounded away. There's all kinds of grooves here. This thing's trash, wasted. The gear's trash and wasted too. You can see hot spots as blue, metal transfer. It's bad news. Okay, so I know I need parts, but what that meant is all that ground metal is in the fluid, and when I took the trans apart, I did see gray metal filings inside the valve body and in the filter. That meant everything in the trans had to be taken apart, cleaned, and put back together. And the valve body took hours to get everything cleaned out of that. Since that metal was ground up and there was fluid in this converter, more fluid in the converter than I put in, then there was a possibility that there was metal inside the converter. And since it's new, I didn't want to buy another one. So this can be a poor man's way to flush a converter. It's how I did it, and I'm very, very confident that it's clean inside. I bought a gallon of mineral spirits, dumped a half a gallon in there, and I spun it around. I rolled it around. You know, I put this cap on, turned it upside down, shook it around, spun it, and I had this part sticking in the vise. So I could pick the converter up, slide it on here, makes it easy to hold it. And then the converter has a drain plug right down here. Put the converter in the vise like that, pull the drain plug out, catch the fluid. Now, that's magnetic. The fluid, if it has metal particles in it, they're going to be magnetic. So what I did is I came up with a way to filter that out. This is like a Mr. Coffee pot filter basket. Put a filter in it with a real strong magnet. Put another filter on top of that. Then poured the mineral spirits in there. And I went a step further and had another one. So go through there. And if there was any, this top filter would collect any particles. But if any did get through somehow, the second filter should collect them. It would be on the top filter. Then it go through a funnel into a jug. And I went through the half a gallon at a time into the converter, switched it around, drained it. I did that 10 times. And the result was that fluid that came out was very clean. There's no metal in it. I was getting some metal in the top filter. It's like a, gray, gritty stuff. And then that kind of like disappeared. And the last time I poured stuff through, it was barely a trace of gray in there. So I'm convinced that that thing is flushed out and there's no more metal in there. Now the trans fluid was brand new when I put it in, $85 worth of fluid. So what I'm doing now is I got the setup going here. I got trans fluid in a jug. I poked a little tiny hole in the bottom. It's going into the filters. In fact, there's 3 of them stacked here. They all have magnets in them. And it's slowly dripping down into that container. Now, after that gallon gets done dripping, I'll check the filters and see how much metal I got. That's not going to be part of this video at all. That's something different. This video is about flushing a converter. Now, I'm confident that this is very clean inside. There's no more metal bits in there, because a metal particle, even tiny ones that you can feel, they can get in a valve body and stop that valve from moving and cause trouble. This may not be the best way to do it, the only way to do it. It's a way to do it, and that's what I did. They do make a converter flushing machine that pumps, I believe it is mineral spirits, through the converters, sucks it out, pushes more in, drain plug, blah, blah. I don't have that. I'm not paying for that. I'm not buying another converter because that was new. I'm going to reuse it, and that's going to be the end of this video on one way to flush a converter. Call it the poor man's way of flushing a torque converter. Thanks for watching Dan's Messy Garage. And the next video is going to be me putting the transmission back in the car. Bye.